Hey, everybody. Do you guys like to have fun? Phew. All right, then you're in the right place. Phew. Just making sure. I'm Chris Quinlan, Deputy Editor of Food and Wine. Thanks so much for joining us at the 35th Annual Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. We're so glad that you're all here with us. We're also really glad to have Chef Hugh Acheson back with us again this year. Right? Hugh is a beacon for the socially awkward. That kind of makes him my spirit chef. It's one of the things that I love about him. But we love a lot of things about him at Food and Wine. We love his mad skills. In fact, he was a Best New Chef way back in 2002, so we've been fans for a long time. We love his quick wit, and maybe most importantly, his big heart. He's such an incredible advocate, lobbying on behalf of No Kid Hungry, bringing seed life skills into the school system in Athens, filling a really important curriculum gap. In fact, he talked to us about the program for an issue of Food and Wine earlier this year, shared some of the amazing recipes with us that they're teaching students. You can find those on foodandwine.com. He's also a cookbook author and has gotten so many people back in the kitchen cooking, which is really exciting. His new Slow Cooker cookbook comes out this October, so keep an eye out for that. All right, so y'all ready to get schooled? All right, please help me welcome Chef Hugh Acheson.
You guys are gonna make Justin Chappelle mad. He's next door. Clap louder. Just kidding. Okay, we're gonna cook with tomatoes, a lot of tomatoes. So we're gonna do 3 things today and really just look at technique. You know, a cooking demonstration should allow you to take one thing home that you start to use in your everyday practice of cooking. It's not necessarily learning recipes, it's learning technique. And technique becomes a Lego block, and I just have more Lego blocks than you. So, but as long as you have like 20 of them, you can build them up however you want and then take them down and serve one as a single thing or make a majestic thing with all of them, whatever you want to do, but that's what cooking should be. So, first thing we're gonna make, well, we're gonna go in a multiple order, but I'm making a southern tomato pie, which is really classic, amazing pie to harness the season. Then we're gonna do a Bloody Mary made with real tomatoes, not tomato juice. So we're gonna pulverize fresh heirloom tomatoes. And then, shush. And then we are going to also make a fresh tomato and field pea salad with fresh basil and crisp farro and a really simple vinaigrette. So that's all gonna come, and field peas, those field peas are so good right now. So right now I'm gonna peel tomatoes. So peeling tomatoes is a matter of coring them just with a paring knife like this and quickly coring. And then scoring in the base with a small X. And then we're gonna drop those in. I've already cored all of these. And we're just gonna cook them until the skins begin to loosen. Careful dropping them in, they splash everywhere, but I have asbestos hands. Okay, then what we're gonna do now is I'm also going to get, that's for the Bloody Mary. Ooh, what's wrong with my thermometer? Help, tech. Oh no, there we go, it's back on. It's okay, relax, you're fine, it's 3:31. Okay, now we're gonna get a bunch of tomatoes going and we're gonna roast them for the tomato pie. So roasting tomatoes is a really good way to sort of concentrate a lot of the sugars in them. But I want a pretty thick slice, so I'm going about yay thick. And that's gonna go on this sheet pan with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt. And we're gonna get 2 sheet pans going, and we're gonna roast them in the oven at 400 just to really take all that beautiful flavor and get a little bit of the water out from the tomato pie base that we're making. I'm gonna look at my tomatoes in here. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The riper the tomato, the faster it will shed its skin. So once the skin is beginning to shed, I just take it over to an ice bath and get it in there. And this is still hot as balls, but you get my drift. Okay. Then I'm just gonna leave that in there while the other ones do that. I'm gonna get more of my tomatoes going. This is the worst placement on a trash can ever, so I'm gonna move that over here. Then I'm gonna take this obnoxiously large rag and cut it into 3 rags. And the KitchenAid people say, I cannot give away appliances, but in the middle of the thing, when you change course, you're suddenly allowed to do whatever you want. So somebody's gonna win an appliance. Side eye. Okay. One of the cheap ones. I mean inexpensive, because it's KitchenAid and they're not cheap. Okay, so back to my tomatoes. These ones are doing well. They're tomatoes and water. It's very exciting. I hope you can see with that. They're doing their thing. Okay, so these ones I'm just going to cut again in pretty quickly in large slices. And working through. And this is a very exciting part of the demo. Next time, do this in advance, Hugh. Tomatoes are the season. I grew up in Ottawa, Canada, and we have a cottage. Woo! Oh, that one person from Ottawa. But did you notice the Canadian clapping? But our prime minister is fucking hot. And your president is not. Okay, I told myself I wouldn't be political, so I'm just going to turn this down, but that's just looks. It's not political. It's totally stop. Okay, these are going in. I'm going to peel those after I get my tomatoes sliced, but they can hang out in this really cold ice water for a while, and then I will not burn my hands. Okay, but I'm from Ottawa, and when tomato season strikes in Canada, which is like a two-week period, it's very short because it's cold as all get out up there. It's amazing. The ground is so arable and beautiful soil up there that the produce we get is amazing. So you grow up in this sort of palpable excitement waiting for things seasonally to happen. And then when you have that tomato that's just warm on the shelf, being lit by the sun at the cottage, and you open it up and you smear mayonnaise and black pepper and the tomato on a sandwich, and that's it, and you're like, it's a beautiful moment. But that's when you should be buying tomatoes. So if you buy tomatoes in January, you're dead to me. Because there's not much point in that. I mean, you can get relatively good hydroponic tomatoes, but that sort of defeats the whole purpose of seasonality in food and the beauty that we should be getting from food. Even at the Palisades area of growing around here, I went to the farmer's market this morning. I've got a weird Danny Meyer story. I'll tell you that in a second. But they had beautiful tomatoes already, and Palisades has amazing peaches, and I say that as a guy who lives in Georgia. But they had beautiful tomatoes already. So, you know, they're out in your market now, so you just need to find that local farmer and support them. Okay, so got my tomatoes pretty much done. I'm going to get one more. So I'm walking around the farmer's market, and there's this strange man taking pictures of two very large alpacas. And it was Danny Meyer. And I was like, Danny, I know you got a lot of Shake Shack money, but did you just buy 2 alpacas? Because that's really weird. But they were huge, and Danny was very happy. He likes alpacas. Okay, season those with salt. And then we're going to get a little bit of olive oil here. And this is Cat's olive oil. It's good. Drizzle, drizzle. I'm going into a preheated KitchenAid oven at 400. Did you see what I did there? Okay. Who asked about this? Yeah. She's on to me, but we'll work this out. Okay. So back to those are going to roast for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to assemble the pie and get it in. The rest of what's going on in the pie is, I've got a recipe right here, and the recipe's on, Chris, where are the recipes? In the mobile app.
Did everyone download the app?
I hope you downloaded the app. I did not download the app, but I will. I mean, I will. But this is a pie shell that we made from scratch, and we blind baked it. So the whole concept of blind baking is helping the pie dough stay crisp by using baking weights or beans lined with wax paper, and then blind baking that for half the time, and that'll keep that crisp as you add all the moisture of the tomatoes and everything else. It's going to have Parmesan in it. It's going to have ricotta. fresh ricotta, which differs from the southern thing, but I'm Canadian, so. And then it's got mayonnaise, which is, they use about 10 times the amount of mayonnaise in a traditional one, but I'm looking out for you, not just number one. Okay, so that's all gonna go in, and scallions are gonna be sweat in butter, which I'm gonna start out doing that, and then we're gonna go peel our tomatoes and make you guys some drinks. One lucky person will get a drink.
Thank you in advance.
We already took a picture, so maybe, you know.
Brothers fed us the entire time.
The Voltaggio brothers. I do not have as many neck tattoos. Okay, this is the tomato. What we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half, like it's the hemisphere, and just sort of squeeze out some of the seed structure and just get to, and then we're going to go into this blender. Wow, my hand is huge. I worked with a chef once who, on Bay TV out in San Francisco, was doing a demonstration on live TV with a Cuisinart and chopped half of his finger off on live TV. Oh, Mike Fennelly. Whoops, this is going in there. He's a nice man, but whoo-hoo. Okay, so these are all going in, and you can. This is really easy to do. You could even pulverize this and make it into a fresh tomato juice and then actually can it. But you need to use what's called a pressure canner because the acid level on a tomato is not enough to keep the pH low enough to be shelf stable after traditional hot water canning. One person in the room just understood that, and the rest are like, why is he not feeding us booze? Okay. Can you do me a favor, grab some towels and just remove the boiling water? Carefully. Okay, I forgot it. You're gonna eat some seeds. These are really nice tomatoes. And you can take that too. Okay, this is gonna go on, and then usually I project tomatoes onto the ceiling at this point by mistake. You will be fine in the first, second, and third rows. It only stains. Okay. Huh? Stop. Okay, so we've got pulverized tomato juice. KitchenAid really likes this lid. Okay, there we are. And now I've got black pepper. Good amount of black pepper. I like black pepper. How are you doing over here? Oh, you're good. I'm going back over here. It's Kerrygold butter, which has special Irish water in it, which spits at your face every time. Okay, these are just green onions, commonly called scallions as well. You can call them whatever you want. I'm not in your kitchen, except for that one time. You weren't home. I'm going to season it a little bit salt, and then I'm going to add just a touch of water to this, and then cap it and put it on low heat. What that's going to do is I don't want color on this. I want a lot of steam to cook it and really get that beautiful, clean onion flavor. So down to low, cover goes on, and we back away. Back to our Bloody Marys. I put salt in there now, because the pepper's already in there. Everything needs salt. Even dessert needs salt. Worcester. Everybody, America is like, I'm terrified of fermented foods. Worcester's fermented, so is wine, so is bread, blah, blah, blah. Then we've got, I'm going to put gin in this one, because I don't like vodka. I mean, vodka's just so boring. You like gin? And who's going, Get some water and some Everclear. You'll be fine. It's the same thing. Vodka's boring. Okay, I'm going to read over the recipe because I write these things like 25 years ago when I was a young man. And then we're going to add lemon and dill pickle juice. So the dill pickles are, and we're going to precisely measure that. And I've got some horseradish because you need horseradish in there. And then, where are my spoons? There it is. So horseradish, I like a fair bit of horseradish. I've got some Tabasco. I like Tabasco. It's not my favorite hot sauce, but it does live well in a Bloody Mary. It is that thing. It's funny, Bloody Mary sucks so many places. That's not hard to make a good one. Okay, and then the rest of this stuff is really going to be for garnish. And I'm going to clean up a little bit. It's good to have a clean work surface. Where are my smaller towels that I cut? There we go. They're a little thready. If anybody gets thread in their food, I'm sorry. But these were, I'm sure, made in the United States. Okay, so that's going to go in there. And then we've got this, so I've got a lemon. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the lemon seed strainer that God gave me, which is my left hand. And we're going to pulse that a little bit to blend it. But first, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems fine. That's how Mom taught me to measure. Mom drank. No, really, like a lot. Really smart woman, but woo. Okay, ice is going to go in there. And then I've got a whole cow and 3 fried chickens that I'm going to garnish with, because that's what people do nowadays. Way over garnishing. People are guilty of it everywhere. No, we're going to garnish in a very traditional way. We're going to put the cap back on here momentarily, and we're going to just pulse this. This blender has more power than my first car, which is really necessary. You got to taste your food, mostly when it has gin in it. That's good. I'm drunk already, but I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little more Worcester. But I like the amount of lemon in there, and I want a little more pickle juice. So just really try and think about your food. Pickles are amazing. You can make a dill pickle vinaigrette with this thing. Just take dill pickles and some dill pickle juice and puree them, and then mount it with oil and a little bit of extra acid and salt and a little mustard, and it's an amazing vinaigrette. And but that's what cooking is. Cooking's like ratios. So the ratio in that, it just needs to be 3 to 1 acid or oil to acid, and then you can make anything in a blender for a vinaigrette. And then you can avoid a whole aisle at the grocery store and speed your life up to be more productive. Okay, pulsing again, and this is going to go in and poured over my ice. They're like pink. But if you make them all with green zebra tomatoes, they're totally cool. Green zebra are an heirloom type of tomato that is a sweet tomato, not like a green tomato that's an unripe tomato. Okay, and then we're going to garnish, and we're going to garnish with dill pickle. This is my garnishing station. Hold on. And then we've got pickled okra, because we live in the South, and pickled okra is, well, it's the best pickle there is. And then jalapenos. What is this? Or these are, fuck it. We're going to use the whole jalapenos. These little pieces, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to take a whole half of a jalapeno. Whole half is mildly redundant. And we're going to skewer those through like that. God, I'm going to make a mess today. How's that oil? Yeah, we're good. And then we've got the okra. Okra. And you can put celery in it too. Okay. So, but this you could really easily make in advance, at least the tomato part, and then just make it in the Bloody Mary thing. And if you make this at brunch or something like that at home, you're going to have some happy drunk people. Happy drunk people are awesome. They're my favorite, because angry drunk people, well, they suck. Just mix that in there. I have been told that I can't give you the machine, but here, have that. Okay, best I can do. You could add celery salt to this or other shit if you want. Whatever. I don't care. Okay. If you raise your hand like you're really eager, I will not come to you. I'm too socially awkward. I'm looking for this. Yeah, I'm looking for you. The least excited person in the room. And then, what's your hat mean?
Oh, a Swiss Rocket Super was a golf place in Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool. I like Pennsylvania. I don't like golf. Drink half of that and share it with her. Okay. Okay. So, that's a Bloody Mary. We're moving on. Just going to clean up a little bit by shoving stuff around, making it look like I'm organized. Okay, that's half the battle, is just how you look in a kitchen. Okay, how are we doing over here? They're doing their thing, they need a little while. Let's start on the salad. Okay, so for the salad, I'm gonna make it over here. You're gonna go over here. So the salad, I have field peas, which is a very big family of peas in the South. Field peas should be like, and we brought these. Richard, what are these?
Pink eyes.
Pink eyes. So pink-eyed peas are very related to a black-eyed pea, but these are fresh peas, and don't be fooled, they take like 20 minutes to cook, and if you find somebody who actually shells them for you, they're amazing, amazing peas. And in a southern market, you'll see like 20 different types. You'll see like zipper creams and whippoorwills and black eyes and pink eyes and all these different ones. It's the good pink eye, not that thing that kids get that looks really gross. So we've cooked these already with a little bit of ham hock and water, and they're nice and tender and simple. That's going to be made into a salad with all these beautiful tomatoes and some crisp farro. So farro is an emmer wheat. There are different types of farro. And we cooked it, and we're going to fry it. So we cooked it till it's plump, and that takes about 30 minutes with a typical one that you buy at Whole Foods. Where's that farro bag? It was right there. But farro is amazingly good. When you're cooking grains, cook extra, because then you can use them in applications like this and make them into a really nutritious salad for the next day. Always try and figure out what you're good with leftovers and what you're not good with leftovers. The thing that always gets moldy in the fridge, just make enough of that for the one application. The thing you love and you always want to crave the next day, make a little bit more. This is not rocket science. Okay, so this is farro. Comes in a bag like this. This is Italian pearled farro. Pearled means that it's been run through a process which makes it faster to cook, like pearled barley is, as opposed to whole grain barley or whole grain farro. You can use either, one just takes longer to cook. So this has been cooked, and then I've got oil, and this oil is at 325, and we're going to fry it. Oh, it's fine. 325, we're going to fry it till it's nice and crisp, because that's going to add this awesome texture to the salad. I've got a little draining board that we're going to go onto with this, which is a fine mesh chinois or strainer or skimmer. This is handy to have. That's going to take about 4 minutes to fry. While that happens, I'm going to start chopping up some tomatoes. What's the most important thing with tomatoes? Don't put them in the fridge. Did you understand what I said? Do not put your tomatoes in the fridge. Do not put your apples in the fridge. Potatoes, onions, all that stuff. Even eggs. I didn't say that in America, but if you go to Spain and shop for eggs, they're not on the refrigerator. They're on a shelf. I know. They're killing everybody, those Spaniards. But they're beautiful, beautiful people. And you're doing good. So the other most important thing, other than room temperature with tomatoes, is to make sure you're salting them. I'm using Diamond Crystal kosher salt in this. That's the standard kitchen salt in fine dining. And it's because we know how it feels. We know how salty it is. When you give us Morton's brand kosher salt, it's very different in saline quantity and sort of assertiveness. So it's really hard to cook with. But we also cook with a lot of fancier salts too, like a Malden or sea salt and things like that, Hawaiian pink salts or Nepalese salts. There's a whole market in salts. It's like The Graduate. The future is in salt. And you can go to Amazon/Whole Foods and buy all the salt you want. I don't know how I feel about that yet. And they were sponsoring my book tour, so I'm a little concerned. I'm going to make a call. No, Whole Foods was, but I'm going to ask Alexa what the fuck is going on. Alexa?
Now you can get your cookbook Prime shipped overnight anywhere.
Anywhere. And yeah, they're working on, like, I can be shipped overnight anywhere, which is not a bestseller and gets horrible reviews. I'm going to go back to what I was doing, which is using this, which is a KitchenAid knife. Can I give away the knives? Nothing? Okay. Really, they've really cut the budget down on this whole thing. It's really disappointing. Okay, that's going to go into the bowl. And we're going to sort of slightly season these as we go because they're going to cut a lot more. The farro's just about done. It's done generally. Things get crisp when we remove the water from them, right? So when you stick something that has intense moisture in it into a frying application, when the bubbles stop, it tends to be crisp. Does that make sense? If the bubbles stop and you remove it 20 minutes later, it tends to be black. No, I think they're learning a lot. I think they're really coming along. You can see them. They're brightening up. And they're going to go home and cook from scratch. And that just makes me happy. So I'm going to slice some of these tomatoes. And then I'm going to build my tomato pie because we have to get that back in the oven sooner than later. Because really, we only have 15 minutes. But usually, I'm like an hour and a half late. So it's a little long. But it's exciting. Okay, those tomatoes going in. Farro's going to come out. Then I'm going to pull my tomatoes out of the oven that were for the tomato pie. So this is nice and crisp. You see this is a great garnish, and you can keep it in a sealed container with maybe a little package of salt or not salt, of rice or something in there to keep it really crisp because the rice will suck up moisture in the air. Did anybody have rice in their salt shaker at their cottage? I had that. That was always weird. Made it look like nobody had ever changed the salt. Okay, so we're going to season those because, again, we season with everything. We're going to go over here, and we're going to open up the Magic Box, which provides heat. It is made by KitchenAid. This is the KitchenAid Magic Box model. And we're going to remove these. If you guys need me to name products, I am right here. Magic Box is. I think Magic Oven is taken. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to take these beautiful scallions that we've got. So those are the scallions. I always forget. Oh, yes. Where are you? Oh, you're right there. Hello. How are you? So those are really cooked. They're nice and buttery and tasty, and we're going to spread those on the bottom. Okay? Paying attention? Buttery goodness. And then we're going to get some cheese, and we're going to go for the ricotta. Ricotta. And we're going to take a spoon like this, and we're going to put about half of the ricotta in, and we're going to smear that around. Tomato pie. Tomato pie is a very southerny, beautiful thing. So, okay, then I'm going to put a little bit of Parmesan on, and then these are hot, and they normally would have cooled down a little bit, but I'm brazen and brave. And I'm going to layer these in. So they've lost some of their liquid, which is good, because we don't want the pie to be too wet. And we're going to stack these up in one layer, and then I'm going to get another layer on as well, because they're going to cook down as it cooks in the oven. So my favorite Southern chefs all seem to be dead. Except Paula Dean, she's still kicking. Barely. No, one of my favorite Southern chefs is a woman who lived about 150 years ago named R.S. Dull. S.R. Dull? S.R. Dull. S.R. Dull. And she wrote an amazing book that's republished by the University of Georgia Press. But then there was an amazingly iconic woman chef named, the mayonnaise is going to go on. You can get this on the mobile app. Named Edna Lewis. Edna Lewis was just an amazing human. And she was a woman from Virginia who wrote The Art of Country Cooking, which is an amazingly interesting book that you should all have in your shelves. Okay, we're going to put more of the ricotta down. Oh, doesn't that look good? And then I'm going to grab a bunch of basil over here, because I like basil. And basil likes to be torn more than it does cut, unless you're doing a really fine chiffonade. It tends not to bruise as much when you just tear it and put it in. But I'm doing pretty large tears, more for lack of time than anything else. Okay. And then we're going to get another layer of the tomatoes, and then we're going to get more cheese in there. This layer of tomatoes I'm going to put in very strategically, like that. Smear that over like that. Richard, my chef who travels with me, is right over there. Probably has a look of utter horror on his face. I love you, Richard. Oh, yes, I do. And then we're going to put Parmesan. And then I'm going to put some salt on the top, too. Oh, lots of Parmesan. Somebody grated this by hand. Did you grate this by hand? Yeah. She's not showing much emotion, but she did grate this by hand. Okay, we've got pepper and tomatoes. They love each other. A little bit of salt. Get rid of stuff. Into oven. Tomato pie likes to be served warm, but hey, I like it cold too. Whatever you want to do. I'm not in your kitchen. Okay, back to my salad. We're going to make a vinaigrette. What time is it? 32? Oh, I'm killing it. Ugh. Who's seen one of my cooking demos before? Okay, I apologize if you've heard this story, but the other people haven't. I have a daughter named Beatrice who is awesome. Beatrice is hilarious and brilliant, and this is a kid who is in, she's 14 or just turned 15, and she's like, comes to me the other day. Beatrice is wanting to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. She was 7 years old, and I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up. We're a very academic family, but I'm the black sheep, which is good. I succeeded this. So Beatrice comes to me and she says, this is like 2 weeks ago, she's like, I applied for a neuroscience program at Columbia University for next summer, but it's okay, I think I got a scholarship. And I'm like, what are you doing? But Beatrice, when she went off to kindergarten, way back when she was 4 or 5 years old, I remember coming in, or I heard this rustling and rattling in the kitchen. And I went in there, and Beatrice it was first day of school, and she was all dolled up in her clothing she had pressed and set out the night before. Her bag was all packed, and she was making this salad and making a vinaigrette from scratch in exactly this way. But she was like 4 and a half. I never taught her that. She just learned it by watching in osmosis and learned me talking to people about cooking and food. And that's how kids are sponges. So if you don't teach them something about food, they're going to run to the Happy Meal full throttle. So it's our job to make sure we're teaching them. But Beatrice sapped up all that amazingness of food. So I come in and she's got soy sauce and she's got mustard and oil and vinegar and salt and in this container, and she puts it in a small separate container, seals it up, puts it in her lunch bag, seals up the salad, which is undressed, puts that in the lunch bag, has a cheese stick and a piece of fruit, and there she went to school. But the one thing that's the biggest takeaway is she learned something at that young age that she will have for the entirety of her life, because she did this. She did a ratio. And so a ratio is only the matter of the oil and the vinegar, or oil and acids. The rest of it is just flavoring. So in this case, we're going to flavor with a little bit of Dijon. I'm going to take a whole, just a couple cloves of garlic, And we're gonna break those off, and we're just gonna bust them up. We're not really even gonna super peel them. We're just gonna smash them up with the side of a knife, like this. Sorry. Here, you can have this. And I am gonna like peel it really lightly, and then just stick it in there. Okay, right? So those are my flavorings in this classic vinaigrette. And then the other way we're gonna do it is it's a ratio. So we're gonna go one part, and you can even turn a mason jar around. It's usually got markings on it. Obviously this one doesn't, but it's okay. I want you to know that I'm a professional and have a framed, tiny Food and Wine chef's jacket in my office. So that allows me to do things unmeasured. This is olive oil, so we're gonna go up to 3 times. This is a very simple, classic French style vinaigrette. We're gonna add some salt, and we're gonna add some pepper, and that's it. If you fished out the garlic, this will stay fresh in the fridge for a month, but the garlic will go bad. So you just wanna get that out of there eventually. You make this, and you emulsify it each time you need it, and there you've got a vinaigrette. And it's better than anything on the shelf in a grocery store. Anything, even the fancy ones in the refrigerated section. So that's it, and that's gonna be the vinaigrette for a salad over here. And we've got, so in the salad, we're gonna have lots of fresh basil because it's that season. I mean, the simplest salad in the world is to take raw, beautiful sweet corn and cut it off the cob into a bowl, dress it with a little bit of olive oil and red wine vinegar, fresh cut tomatoes and a ton of fresh basil and shavings of Parmesan. So good, so easy. Okay, so that's all going in. I'm gonna put in some of my field peas. I'm gonna put in that amount of field peas. Then I'm gonna put half of my farro in crisp in the salad, and then half on top. And we're gonna get a spoon to get out our vinaigrette. And we're gonna check on this. How are you? Good. You should unemotionally talk to your food every once in a while. But don't waste emotions on fellow humans. You don't have to play up to your, ooh, how are you? That's stupid. You just need to be like, how are you? Okay? You guys are like, wow, he really is Canadian. Okay, we've got that dressed nice and lightly, but we've got extra dressing for later applications. We're gonna get this onto a nice platter. And this is summer. You want to serve this with like grilled chicken or whatever you want. And this is just on the table and beautiful. This is a really big platter for a small salad, but you get the point. Then we're going to take the rest of this crisp farro without burning the crap out of our arm. And we're going to get that over the top. And we're going to sprinkle just a little bit more salt on there and a little bit of freshly ground pepper, which is right here. Freshly ground pepper is key in all these things. There's that. So that's the salad type thing. I think I'm actually gonna stick more tomatoes in there. And then we're gonna get our tomato pie out. It is 38 right now. I'm supposed to go until 45. So I'm gonna open it up for a little bit of questions. If anybody's got anything, yell it to me and I will repeat the question. Anybody got anything? Nothing, nothing, nothing. You.
Approximately how much salt would you estimate to put in the tomato pie?
4 cups. No, I seasoned the tomatoes with probably maybe half a teaspoon of salt, and then on top I'd probably put another half a teaspoon, so maybe a teaspoon total. Not that much. I'm prone to undersalting, and the reason is everybody's love of salt differs. What you want to do, salt is not a spice, it's not an herb, it's basically a food additive that maximizes flavor in food. So it pulls out liquid in the food that we're eating, it'll pull out liquid in tomatoes and make them macerate, essentially. But it'll also pull and open your palate to tasting better. So really, but it's up to you. But you need to put some salt in there at least. So, but about a teaspoon is all you're gonna need. Okay, my tomato pie is just about done. I'm gonna turn it on broil for a little while. Upper oven broil, start. KitchenAid is a very, very user-friendly product. Can I now give away something? You just want, no. Whatever. Okay, any other questions right now until that tomato pie? Yes, sir. Have I ever attempted a homemade Caesar? Like the play or the dressing? The what? The drink. Oh, yeah. You mean the Clamato-based one? Yeah, it's a Canadian tradition. Basically, this is going to disgust most Americans in this room. Clamato is the clam juice and tomato juice hybrid, and we use it to make a Bloody Mary with that in Canada that people find very strange. But I love them, and Justin Trudeau's hot. How was your Bloody Mary?
It's not as good as Justin Trudeau.
Oh, well, that's good. That's high praise.
Would you make the tomatoes, two questions. Would you make the tomato salad in advance and leave it at room temp?
Two questions. Okay, second one.
Can I taste it?
I wouldn't make it in advance because it's so easy to assemble. You want to cut the tomatoes pretty much right prior to when you're using them. When you cut tomatoes in advance, they're going to leach out a lot of liquid if they're really nice and plump and ripe. And as soon as you add salt to it, they're going to leach out more liquid. So I would have everything assembled and then just cut the tomatoes and do it. Okay. Yes, you can taste it. Not right now. Remind me at the end.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that your only child you have, the daughter you talked about?
No, I have another one, but we don't talk about her. Was that a real story? Yeah.
What did you say to her when you saw her assembling this vinegar?
Oh, I cried and got a coffee. I mean, it was early. No, but that's Beatrice. The other daughter is Clementine, who is a wonderful, wonderful soul. So, yeah, they're both amazingly interesting kids. But yeah. Yes?
Am I the only one worried that the tomato pie's on boil and you're not looking at it?
I need you to just relax. I have a framed chef coat in my office. You have another question? Line up the belittlement. What? Bloody Marys help what? You relax. No, I said you relax. Okay, no. Okay, I'm going to take this out soon because it's boiling or burning to hell because she told me it was. It's not burning. You're gonna need, I'm not gonna cut it because it's gonna be a mess if I cut it when it's really hot, but let it chill a little bit just so it's still warm and cuttable. And then just when you're cutting it, each time you're gonna remove it from this because it's a, whatever you call it. What do they call this now? Tart pan? With a removable base. No? Is there a better name for that? Why am I blanking out on this? I have a framed chef coat in my office, Chris. But cut it, but wipe off the knife each time. Therefore, you'll get nice, clean slices. But tomato pie is great. This is an awesome brunch thing. This you could make in advance and serve it just warm it lightly in the oven again. Would be great. You could add, if you want to make it more quiche-like, you could whip an egg up and add it when you add the mayonnaise. Get it in there as a bit of a layer. You could use Gruyere and things like that. You don't have to use the ricotta. You could use a fresh farmer's cheese, which are really popular in farmers markets now. So really, the world is your oyster when it comes to tomatoes. That's a really weird thing to say. But any other questions? In the back. What's the point of it? It's the South. We put mayonnaise in everything. It's Duke's mayonnaise. No, mayonnaise will act as a light binder in that, and it adds some richness and texture to it. It's basically like adding a bunch of lard to something, but we do it in a really nice way. Because we love you. Hand, yes. Hand without a face. Because I'm really lazy and hate scrubbing pans for a really long time. It'll keep your kitchen a lot cleaner. Things brown equivalently on parchment paper as they do on metal amazingly. So It's fine. You could roast the tomatoes for a lot longer. You could roast the tomatoes overnight if you wanted to at like 175. And that's going to give more of a dehydrated style of tomato, but it won't be sun-dried. It'll still be full of flavor. So you're about to have an abundance of tomatoes in your gardens, right? Those of you who don't live in Aspen condos. So, and if you do, I'll give you my number later. I think that's about it. Anybody got a question? Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
What would you use as a main dish for it?
I mean, I think that if you're serving at a brunch, I think a little thing of field peas nestled in with a poached egg would be great. You could, for this in the evening time, I mean, a roasted chicken and some sauteed turnip greens would be amazing as a whole dinner with a little gravy kind of saturating everything. This, like on an outside picnic table with a grilled steak would be pretty cool. So really the world, because of the richness of the cheeses in it and things like that, I'm not sure if I want to serve it with a fish, but I don't like cheese and fish. Some weird people do, which may include you. I don't know. Oh, yeah. You guys go and get drunk. Well, okay, what?
Did you use red wine vinegar in the vinaigrette?
Yes, I did. But, there's so many good vinegars out there. This is Katz again. Katz is a really good producer. You can make your own red wine. This is great, but I'm going to tell you how to make your own red wine vinegar. If you put it into a mason jar, any dregs of extra wine that you have, for those of you who do not consume the entire bottle, you can pour it into a mason jar and put a little piece of cheesecloth over it and then the band of the mason jar, but not the lid, with a little bit of Bragg's vinegar in there, which is live culture vinegar. And that within 3 weeks, that'll change that whole liquid to vinegar. Does that make sense? So live culture will acetify the rest of the wine that's in there. Fruit flies love it, so you might want to do it outside. Okay, go on. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you for coming.